Happy morning to everyone. Uh, I know I almost didn't want to stop it. We might just play it a little more too. Good morning. I had a terrible sleep last night, so I just wanted to get that out of the way. Um, but we're here today, and it's good. Wanted to share with you guys a few things right off the bat. What you're looking at. I'll turn off the music because it's loud in my ears. It's probably quiet in yours. But good morning. We're on day 4, episode 4. Guys, thanks for tuning in on this. I'm super excited. The comments came pretty fast and furious yesterday of just how much this means to some of you. And guys, it's super awesome. But we got to start off with one thing first. Good morning. I think we devalue that alone, do we not? It's like I look at the chat, and sorry, it's over on my 4th screen over here, but good morning, guys. I look forward to when I can wake up and I actually see the good morning from you. If you're tuning in, and guys, there are a ton of people who are now, I know our numbers, it doesn't say a lot. I don't really care about our numbers, but there are people who are tuning in from across Canada now. And if you're from any other province other than Alberta, then we just wanted to say welcome to this space. This is a place where we can start off our day, where we can. I'm looking out my window at a whole bunch of trees, and sort of cloudy today. It's supposed to be warm though. But we devalue this, or we should value this experience more. Let me change my language a bit. Of just this simple act of good morning. So, good morning, everyone. I had to look into the camera. It felt really creepy, but it's good to see you guys. I can't say your name. So for privacy concerns, guys, I'm going to try and stay away from names, but I see a name that I haven't seen there before, and I'm super excited that she's part of this. So, good morning to you. I'll just say maybe in code that no one will understand. Oogie oogie oogie. Top of the morning to you. This is a good space, and guys, I feel like we could just listen to music, and then it's just like, yes, start our day right. Here's the situation with that. So we've been playing copyright every day. We get a copyright claim because all of Christian music is copyrighted, which is just weird to me. But we're going to acknowledge that and just kind of work with that. So the live stream will actually be different than the recorded stream. You can always go back and watch these on YouTube. They'll be all recorded on there. You'll see 2 things are missing because we're trying to figure this out as we go. One, when you watch a recorded stream, the live chat will not be there. Because right now I think almost everyone, except for, hello, for somebody else who just posted, we've got another new person on. If we can't actually put the live chat because all of you put both your first and your last name, similar to me. So I can mock you all I want, but that's just my spiritual gift. The other thing that will be missing is the actual intro, and I totally stumbled on that intro of. I sat there and I was listening to music because I do that for about 15 minutes before I come onto YouTube. I'll just sit and listen to the song that I've chosen, and thankfully, if somebody hacks my camera, then that would be interesting to me because you'll see me, if I really like the song like today, you'll see me kind of dancing around doing like a really budget level TikTok. Not actually that though, because I'm just really in worship and just kind of waking up. So I've really appreciated that, but that's going to change for the recorded show. Again, there's about half our audience watches the recorded show. So I'm going to do some work on that today, and I know we just can't play copyright music. Okay, that's not why we're here today. Why we're here today is an opportunity to breathe. So here's why I do love Minecraft. Man, am I burnt out on it most days, but what you're looking out at right now is Mount Arbel. So if you Google search it, it's really not a good looking mountain, but it overlooks the Sea of Galilee. And actually, most of the images that you'll find there, it just looks like a flat top mountain, which it is, but what the pictures don't do is it doesn't do it justice in how high it is from the top. And many of you have heard me tell this story. I gotta say good morning to this new morning. This is a beautiful mountain. Let me take you to the top. And again, Minecraft doesn't do it justice. And for those of you who, you came here for a breath of air, I'm about to freak you out a little bit. You may be holding your breath. Let's climb the mountain. So the Sea of Galilee, which is this, and guys, I love this story. It's one of my favorite stories in Scripture, because this sea, it's not really actually a sea. Anyone remember what it actually is? Yeah, my internet's a little funky today. My apologies if you get a little crazy. Oh, morning. Okay, so I'm being told in the comments here that we're freezing up a little bit. Let me just give me 1 second. I'm just going to yell some instruction because I think we're downloading something heavy at the house today. 1 sec. All right, my apologies. We have many things downloading today because we're trying some new things. Yes, let's get back to this. And yes, it is a lake. Hey, here's a thought for you. If you want to have the most meaningful experience that is not copyright claimed, while I'm talking, I'd actually like to direct you to a song. Typically, I'll have it in the comments below the video. I don't have that today, but here's the song for you. It's called, put it on YouTube and just put it in the background. It'll make this experience that much more for you. It's Leeland, Leeland, Waymaker. Google search that, put that on, or YouTube search that, and then put that on in the background. That'll transform this experience for you. Somebody just said, is it a lake? Yes. Yes, it is. Lake Gennesaret. This lake is a pretty incredible place.
Dad, it's done.
Okay. The lake itself isn't huge, and in fact, this is a little bit small. We've made it a little bit bigger for you over the last couple of days, but I want to take you to this mountain because it's kind of cool. The lake is freezing. When you go in, you're thinking, oh, this is the lake that Jesus did most of his ministry around, and you're right. You'll notice that it didn't say Jesus swam a lot, because when you go into this lake, you'll think, oh man, I'm being very spiritual. And in fact, what you're being is very cold because it's freezing. This is Mount Arbel, a mountain that I keep forgetting its name, but it's here. It's a very small space, and we're kind of putting it still together, but I just want you to check out the view. We'll put it back to daytime here in a second. This is what you'd look down on. And in fact, if we did this really well, there's a space right here. And those of you who are afraid of heights, if I was to jump off this rock right now, you would actually be very unhappy. The reason I put this little cliff in is because, and some of you know this too, when I'm traveling, I like to test things. And so I had a new pair of shoes on the day that I went to Mount Arbel, and I was jumping along the rocks. It's actually, I used this as my character. This is who I am. I was jumping along these rocks right here, just like that. Oh my goodness, that actually gave me a little bit of shivers. And I didn't notice. Well, I did notice that there was a tremendously huge cliff, and if we really raised this up a little bit more, you could actually, fall to your death. And these shoes were awesome. They were so grippy that I thought it'd be fun to jump from rock to rock along the cliff edge. I know. I can imagine the comments that are going to come in that are like, what, why? And I remember jumping just between a space like this, but I couldn't see the next rock. I could only see that I had to really jump to get to that rock. And so, yeah, yeet. So I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to like, and in my mind I went, I should check first because I'm on a cliff edge. And in this case here, it's like, what, 4 or 5 blocks down. In my case, it was 1,000 feet down. It's actually just a sheer cliff face. If you look at Mount Arbel and you find the cliff face, it's just like straight down. And I jumped, and it was so cool because I can still remember it to this day. I looked down, because that's what you do when you're jumping. And as I jumped from one rock to the next rock, there was nothing in between. And in fact, I remember looking, and there was a little bit of a street that was built 1,000 feet down, that as I jumped over this, I could see a little boy playing, I'm assuming little boy playing down in the street below me 1,000 feet down, and I was passing over him and then landing on the next rock. And when I landed, you can imagine if I can give you the image of like no safety net whatsoever, because I couldn't like grab onto a tree root or like anything. It was just straight down. And I don't know how I didn't see it. I think it's because I was so taken by my awesome new shoes. Why would I do that? I have no idea. Yeah. And I just remember going, and my legs turned to jello, not when I landed, because I needed to land and not, go over the rock and then die. I remember I landed and everyone was like, oh, look at Sean. He's just being his normal self. And I tried to play it cool, but quite literally, I walked back off the cliff edge, sat on a bench that was close by the cliff edge, but like probably 10 feet away. And just sat there very quietly, and everyone's like, that was just really fun to watch you having so much fun. Like, you're such a daredevil. And I was like, no, I'm done for the day. Just wobbly legs and the whole thing. I actually have a picture. Oh, you know what? And I went to get all my old pictures from that. I'll show you the cliff edge one of these days, because it is pretty cool. Like, it's actually terrifying. It's one of those cliff edges where you don't even walk out there. You crawl out there because you're so terrified. At any rate, that's not why I'm telling you this. I'm actually telling you this because of this. Here's the Sea of Galilee, which doesn't actually look that great right now. Let's go back to sunrise. This space here is pretty cool, and I oh man, now I'm falling. Actually, hang on. You got to experience the falling off the cliff. This would have been me. Hey, buddy. Run. Jump. Ah! Oh my goodness. That was a little terrifying. Don't jump off cliffs, okay? Am I still freezing up? Or am I okay? We've got a bit of issue today. Here's where I'd like to take you guys. And sorry, this is... hadn't intended on talking about the cliff today, but you know how it goes. This is one of the most beautiful stories in Scripture. And it's the one that it seems the church loves to do the skits on. Jesus walking in water. Mark 4. So I've got for you here a boat full of disciples, full of a bunch of guys looking at the water. And then I've got the Sea of Galilee, and I want you to just see the Sea of Galilee. It's basically shaped like a tremendously huge bowl. And in fact, if you look at Wikipedia and see the shape of the Sea of Galilee, that's what we've built it out as. This bowl, and I've heard a lot of sermons on this, and this is, again, you need to, if you're tuning in now, because I just noticed our numbers just jumped, Leland Waymaker on YouTube. Go and search that up, put that in the background, because I'd like to take you to a place. Oh, the stream's very behind, yeah. It's giving me those things too. Here's the deal. In one of the most beautiful stories, and I want to read this for you. It's from Mark. I don't know if I said Matthew 4. I meant Mark 4. Mark 4:35. Jesus is around the Sea of Galilee. That day when evening came, he said to his disciples, "Let us go over to the other side." Now, here's the catch, one of the catches. One of the catches is we didn't build the lake big enough, because it's a tremendously huge thing. To go from this side to this side, most of us could make that in a swim. However, if the temperature of the water was really, really, really tremendously cold, because it is so far below sea level, it's a freshwater lake. I doubt most of us would make it to the other side without hypothermia. That's us in modern day. That day when evening came, he said to his disciples, "Let us go over to the other side." Now they're not swimming, they're taking a boat. Leaving the crowd behind, they took him along just as he was in the boat. I love how I just said that. There were also other boats with him. I love that part of the story. A furious squall came up and the waves broke over the boat so that it was nearly swamped. Here's where I love the experience of this story. Whenever I've heard this spoken, the waves are tremendously huge, and they're 10 footers, 12 footers, and it's so scary, and this furious squall. Here's the difficulty that I have with that rendition. I've been in a storm in the middle of the Sea of Galilee, and it was super awesome. And if you've ever seen an old movie called Titanic, there's a moment where Jack and Rose are at the front of the Titanic, and Rose says to Jack, "Hold me, Jack, never let me go." And so when I'm in my boat, which I wish I had a picture of it, I'll try and find my old pictures. Everyone is hunkered underneath the boat, underneath the tarp over top of the boat. And we were in a modern day boat. And then you see this really tall person at the front of the boat, all alone, yelling out to the waves and the wind in the middle of the Sea of Galilee, "Hold me, Jack, never let me go." And when I did that, when some theoretical person did that, it was really fun. It was really, really fun. But at no point in time was I ever terrified. Which is different, because you see this here. A furious squall came up and the waves broke over the boat so that it was nearly swamped. Jesus was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion, which is weird. The disciples woke him and said to him, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" So they're terrified. That's maybe what I should have reenacted was Mark 4, but instead I reenacted Titanic 1 verse 1 in not being afraid. And so again, we go back to this message of these huge waves come over the boat and they're going to get swamped and sharks in the water or something. Not sharks, by the way. But it's not that. Now, here's what I know of the Sea of Galilee. It is shaped like a bowl. So when the wind comes into the Sea of Galilee, yes, it has the potential to create incredible storms. And I would say, just as we kind of get going here, we're in the middle of a fairly significant storm in our lives. I'm sure many of us have had the experience of feeling really good one day and the next day in isolation, not so good. We've all felt the boredom, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but when it gets to the place of I'm just going to go back to bed. Or, just that space of when is this going to end? It's our storm. Or even this, I'm realizing how much the good morning means to me. Or I had someone say to me yesterday, and I think this is absolutely beautiful. They were having a tough go over last episode, and just saying I just want to be around the people that I love. That would be my miracle today. When we have conversations like this, we realize, guys, we're actually wired for connection. I'm not being a religious nut when I say that. We're actually wired for connection. It brings us to life. Extrovert, introvert, doesn't matter. We're still wired for human connection, designed by God to connect to each other. That was fire. So we're sitting in the middle of this storm. How big does the storm actually have to be? I think we get confused that suffering in this world has to be the highest of the heights. It's 10,000 people dead. What's your suffering? I think it's irrespective of the size of the wave. Suffering doesn't need a thermometer. So I think this is where I'd love to be able to speak some truth into your life. And it's fairly heavy today, but been thinking about this one for a while. What's the difference in our church telling and what's the difference in the actual event? Well, the actual event looks like this. The boat wasn't shaped like our modern day boat. You know, when you get into a boat today, there's a certain amount of size of wave that you can handle. This boat, and how do we know that this boat is actually different? This boat is actually different because we actually have a boat dug out, and if you want to Google search the Jesus boat, it's a brilliant space. But that boat is archaeologically dug. It's not actually Jesus' boat, just to be clear, but it is actually from the boat technology of that day. You don't need big waves to drown. You need a bad boat or a technologically equivalent boat. Also this. We would be, as fishermen, prepared with life jackets. They don't have life jackets. We would also be prepared with some kind of swimming gear. Like I wear board shorts every day. Why? Because that's kind of my natural habitat. That's who I am. I love the response to this. Yeah, one of you just said, I would imagine the boats weren't as good back then. Yeah. How about this though? The lake is cold. The wind is fairly chilly, not by our standards here in Canada, but it's still chilly. The fishermen aren't dressed to go for a suntan time. They're dressed in wool. They're dressed in something that would be comfortable to keep them warm in the chilly wind, and then they can also take off sometimes. Can you imagine having your boat going down and you are wearing a woolen or a very heavy piece of clothing? You're going to the bottom. Oh, also, we don't have swimming lessons for fishermen during Jesus' time. So if your boat goes down, it is likely your group of disciples becomes a very smaller group of disciples. It doesn't matter the size of the storm. So here's what I'd love for you guys. First of all, and I know there's billion people out there right now who are saying, like, make sure you reach out, doing all the mental health thing. Absolutely. That is so key. But what's your storm? What are you facing today? And let's not discount our struggle. That's the one side of it. What's your boat? What kind of boat are you in? I love you guys. Comfortable to help them drown. Oh, it's so true. What about this? Here's where the story continues. Thankfully, the story continues. Because can you imagine if it ended there? Jesus is sitting on a cushion. He's not really that interested because he's sleeping. Yeah, let's end the story with that. Jesus was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion. The disciples woke him, and then he went back to bed. And he was like, chill out, guys. You'll be fine. Some of you will make it, some of you won't. My goodness. That would be a different picture of God. Here's the Jesus that I know, though. He got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, quiet, be still. You know, okay, let's compare gods for a moment. If we're really writing an incredibly compelling God story, it would be, he took the thunder and he replaced it with, I don't know, unicorns. That doesn't work. And he moved the clouds with his pinky finger, and then with his, I don't know what this finger is called. I'm not flipping you the bird. But he moved everything back with that. And then this finger he did something else with. And then this finger he was like waves. Nope. I love the humility. He got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, quiet, be still. Then the wind died down and was completely calm. Similar to this. Similar to a beautiful day out on a lake. He said to his disciples, now careful how he says this. Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith? I don't think Jesus was angry, because it doesn't say he was angry, but I don't think Jesus was angry or disappointed in this. In his disciples. Why are you so afraid? You guys are lamos. No. Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith? They were terrified and asked each other, who is this? Oh, disciples. Oh, to be a disciple and to just be able to be so dumb. I mean, I'm the same way. Who is this? Even the wind and waves obey him. Here's the God that I know. It comes back to my deep conviction. I know a God who, when he speaks, brings life. I know a God that when he speaks, he brings hope. And I know a God who, when he speaks, brings truth and peace. And I'm not saying this with bias. I think I'm saying this with just the conviction that I know a God who's very real and walks with us every day. Here's how I know this. He speaks to me through these times. He speaks to me through you guys. And just the opportunity that we are able to give each other when you guys tune in, when you guys comment all the time, we give each other courage and peace and hope. And so I want to start a day with that. How do you see God? Your boat, even your boat. He sees your boat. He sees your life. He sees where you're at right now. He is a very personal God. He is not just asleep on the cushion. He is willing to wake up and speak to the wind and the waves and to bring us peace. So that's our word for this morning. I just want to say, guys, this has been a really cool experience to be able to start this. So I'm always available if you want to comment, throw things my way too. Guys, I'd love to. If you want to see something here, if you want to see a story covered, if you want to see anything that way, we can certainly do that. You just got to give me some time, because we're going to build it in Minecraft if it's archaeologically supported. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your comments. I want to pray for you, because I want to pray that God speaks through this day. And again, if it's just my voice in the background, you're hearing this for the first time. I love the story of the Sea of Galilee. There's so many other stories. Actually, if you're looking at the screen right now, you're going to see a church off in the distance, because again, if there's a site that happened in Israel, the church was built over it, and that's actually the site of where Jesus divided the loaves and the fish. We can talk about that another time too. But if there is a story, in all seriousness, shoot me a line today, because I'd love to cover it. I'd love to just see where God takes this and kind of moves to, and we'll continue to figure things out here. All right, let me pray for you. We'll get going. You guys are awesome. Father, we do thank you for the wind and the waves. Man, it's hard to thank you for that, though. God, I thank you that you are the God who doesn't see just the wind and the waves, but you actually take a step back and also take a step forward. You can see above the wind and the waves. And you can see, not just irrespective of time, you can see us. You lean into us as the waves terrify us and our boat seems too small. So God, I pray for each person here today. I pray that you give them peace as we have a busy day ahead. We might be tired. We might just be the inside tired, where we're just tired of looking at screens. God, I pray that you would give us the space to breathe, the space to Taste John 10:10 a little bit more. I've come that they may have life and have it to the full. I pray that for us today. If we need to reach out, God, would we find the right people to reach out to? We thank you for the good morning. We thank you for being able to say that to each other. We thank you for the start. Would your face shine upon us today? And would you lean in? We thank you now in Jesus' name. Amen. Oh, guys, thanks for your comments. I'll be reading through them too. I hope you have a great day. I really do. Thanks for putting up with me. This is a long one today, but man, I love this stuff. All right, brothers and sisters. May this morning be good. And may God be companionable to you. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you on the flip tomorrow morning.